This is Trevor Haskins, Maintenance Supervisor, Fantasyland, Orlando. Recording timestamp, 11:47 p.m., October 14th. I'm documenting this because I need someone to understand what happened here, what's still happening. My daughter Lily is somewhere inside the Main Street castle, and I'm going to get her out. But first, I need to explain how we got here, how the happiest place on earth became this. I've worked at Fantasyland for 9 years. Started as a ride operator on the Thunder Mountain coaster, worked my way up to maintenance supervisor. I know every tunnel, every utility corridor, every inch of the 47-acre park. I know where the trash compactors are hidden behind the Princess Meet and Greet. I know which bathroom stalls in Tomorrowland have broken locks. I know the park closes at 10 p.m. for guests, but maintenance crews work until 2 a.m. most nights, getting everything ready for the next day's crowd. Tonight was supposed to be a late shift like any other. Lily's 14. Her mom, my ex-wife Jennifer, dropped her off at 6 p.m. for the employee family night. Once a month, park staff can bring their kids in after hours. Lily's been coming since she was 6. She knows this place almost as well as I do. She was going to hang out at the Fairy Tale Cafe until my shift ended at 2 a.m. Then we'd grab IHOP on the way home. That was the plan. The first sign something was wrong came at 9:23 p.m. I was in the underground service tunnel beneath the Enchanted Forest section when dispatch called all maintenance to the cast member services building. Gary Tompkins, head of park operations, looked like he'd aged 10 years in the last 10 minutes. "We have a medical situation," he said. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "For cast members from the character parade reported to medical with identical symptoms. High fever, severe disorientation, and," he paused, glanced at his tablet, "abnormal aggression and confusion. Dr. Reese in medical says it's unlike anything she's seen. We're implementing Code Yellow protocols. All guests are being quietly evacuated. All cast members not essential to evacuation are to proceed to the parking lot." Code Yellow meant potential infectious outbreak. We drilled for it twice since COVID, but I'd never expected to actually use it. The protocols were clear. Get guests out quickly but calmly. Avoid panic. Contain any sick individuals in the medical facility until EMTs arrived. "What about family night?" I asked. "My daughter's in the cafe." "All family members are being escorted out through the main gate," Gary said. "She'll be waiting for you in the parking lot. Just follow protocol." I should have gone to the cafe myself. That's what I'll regret for the rest of my life. But I'm maintenance supervisor. I had responsibilities. I radioed Lily's phone. She didn't pick up. Not unusual. She never heard her phone over her headphones. I texted her, "Code Yellow. Meet me at front gate. Leaving now." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Okay, Dad, thumbs up." I helped coordinate the evacuation from my position in the service tunnels. I could see everything on the security monitor network down there. Thousands of families moving toward the exits in orderly lines. Cast members in their costumes directing traffic with forced smiles. On camera 47, the main plaza, I saw 4 park medical staff in full hazmat suits wheeling someone on a gurney toward the medical building. The person was thrashing. Even on the grainy security footage, I could see something wrong with their movement. Too violent, too persistent. By 10:15 p.m., the park was empty of guests. Gary's voice came over the radio again. "All non-medical personnel to the parking lot. EMTs are on site. Orange County Health Department is setting up a quarantine screening station. Everyone needs to be checked before going home." I was walking toward the service tunnel exit when dispatch called my personal radio. "Trevor, we have a situation. Your daughter isn't at the front gate." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean? She texted me 40 minutes ago." "The cafe manager says she left with the first evacuation group, but she's not showing on any of the exit manifests. We're checking security footage now. I was already running, back through the service tunnel, up the emergency ladder that comes out behind the spinning teacup ride. The park looked wrong empty. All the lights still blazing, music still playing from the hidden speakers, but no people. Just empty midways and abandoned stroller parking areas. My radio crackled. "Trevor, we found her on camera. She's in the Main Street Castle. Second floor, Princess Gallery. She's hiding." Hiding from what? Static. Then, "Trevor, you need to see this." Camera 23. Timestamp 10:02. I pulled out my tablet, accessed the security network. Camera 23 covered the character greeting area near the castle. The timestamp showed 10:02 p.m., just after the evacuation order. The area was empty except for 3 figures in character costumes. Captain Courage, the park's superhero mascot, Princess Aurora in her pink ball gown, and Whiskers the Wonder Cat, the cartoon feline mascot that's been the park logo since 1987. They were just standing there, not moving toward the exits, just standing in formation like they were waiting for something. Then one of the maintenance golf carts drove past in the background, and all 3 mascot heads turned in perfect synchronization to track it. The movement was wrong, too smooth, too predatory. Princess Aurora's fixed smile seemed suddenly sinister. The cart disappeared off camera. The mascots started walking, not the bouncy, exaggerated character walk the performers are trained to do. Normal walking, fast, purposeful. They moved off-screen. "Jesus," I whispered. Camera 24 picked them up 30 seconds later. They were surrounding the golf cart. The driver, I recognized him as Pete Delgado, one of the electrical crew, was backing away. Captain Courage grabbed him. Pete struggled, and even with no audio, I could see he was screaming. Princess Aurora and Whiskers moved in. The footage cut to black. "The health department is calling it an aggressive contamination event," Gary's voice said over the radio. He sounded like he was barely holding it together. "The infected they're showing extreme violence and no verbal response. The 4 we isolated in medical broke out 20 minutes ago. They're in costume. We don't know how many others are infected. The police are setting up a perimeter. Nobody goes in or out until hazmat teams arrive. Trevor, I'm sorry, but you need to evacuate to the parking lot. We'll get Lily out, but you need to." I turned off the radio. My daughter was in that castle. I knew every service entrance, every maintenance access point. I'd built half the mechanical systems in that building. And I sure as hell wasn't waiting for hazmat teams while Lily was hiding from infected cast members in costume. I went back down to the service tunnels. Down there, I could move beneath the entire park unseen. I grabbed my emergency kit from my supervisor locker, flashlight, multi-tool, park master keycard, first aid kit, and something I'd never thought I'd need, the bolt cutters we used for emergency cable access. The tunnel map was burned into my brain. I could reach the castle through Service Tunnel 7, come up in the backstage area behind the Princess Gallery. 6 minutes if I ran. I started recording this log as I moved, because if something went wrong, someone needed to know what I saw. What's happening here? The tunnels were too quiet. Usually, there's sound bleeding down from above. Ride machinery, music, foot traffic. Now there was just the hum of the HVAC system and my breathing. My footsteps echoed off the concrete walls covered in color-coded pipes and electrical conduits. I passed under the Fairy Tale Cafe. Above me, I heard footsteps, multiple sets, moving fast. Then a crash, glass breaking, maybe, tables being overturned. Then nothing. I kept moving. Tunnel 7's entrance was ahead. I could see the green emergency light marking the ladder up to the castle backstage area. I was almost there when I heard something behind me. Footsteps in the tunnel. I turned. Nothing visible in the sodium yellow work lights, but I could hear it. Not running, walking, steady, getting closer. The footsteps had a weird quality, a slight squeak with each step, like rubber shoes, like mascot costume feet. I killed my flashlight and pressed against the tunnel wall. The footsteps got louder. Then I saw it emerging from the shadows at the tunnel intersection behind me. Whiskers the Wonder Cat, 7 feet tall, powder blue fur, enormous cartoon eyes, and that massive permanent smile. The costume's head was tilted at a slight angle, like whoever was inside was listening. There was something dark on the white gloves, something wet. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The mascot stood there, head slowly scanning. After a moment that felt like an hour, Whiskers turned and walked down the perpendicular tunnel toward the Tomorrowland section. I waited 30 seconds, then ran for the ladder. Timestamp, 11:58 p.m. I'm in the castle backstage area. The Princess Gallery is 1 floor up. I can hear Lily's phone vibrating somewhere above me. I've been calling it continuously. She's not answering. The backstage area is cramped and utilitarian, the ugly reality behind the fantasy. Cinder block walls painted institutional beige, costume racks, prop storage, cleaning supplies, emergency exits marked with glowing signs. It smells like industrial detergent and face paint. I found the first body behind a rack of princess gowns, Pete Delgado, the electrical worker from the golf cart video. He was still breathing, but barely. There was blood, a lot of it, and his Fantasyland maintenance uniform was torn. His eyes were open, staring at nothing. I checked his pulse, weak and racing. His skin was hot fever, definitely over 103. I tried to talk to him, but he didn't respond. His pupils were dilated, uneven. Couldn't move him, couldn't help him. I had to get to Lily first, then we'd get everyone out. I took his radio and kept moving. The stairwell to the Princess Gallery was blocked. Someone had pushed a prop treasure chest across the door. I used the bolt cutters on the chain, locking it shut, then shoved the chest aside. The door opened onto a pink hallway lined with portraits of cartoon princesses. At the end was the gallery entrance, a pair of ornate double doors. "Lily," I called softly. "It's Dad. I'm coming to get you." No answer, but I heard movement inside the gallery, shifting fabric, breathing. I used my master key card on the lock. The doors opened onto darkness. The gallery's lights were off, but the windows let in the glow from the park's exterior lights, enough to see. The Princess Gallery is a meet and greet space designed like a ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, plastic, marble columns, fiberglass, a raised platform at one end where princesses pose for photos with kids. The walls are covered in mirrors to make the space feel bigger. In the dim light, it looked like a hall of shadows. Lily was crouched behind the photo platform. She saw me and her face crumpled with relief. "Dad!" I ran to her. She grabbed onto me, shaking. She's 14 and tall for her age, but right now she felt small, fragile. "It's okay," I said. "I've got you. We're leaving right now." "Dad, they're not. Those aren't people in the costumes anymore." "I know. I saw. Come on." "No, you don't understand." She pulled back, looked at me with wide eyes. I saw Captain Courage. His head came off. There's nobody inside. The costume is moving by itself. My brain rejected that. "Lily, you're scared. It's dark. You saw something wrong, but..." "I was 20 feet away, Dad." The head fell off when he grabbed Mrs. Rodriguez from guest relations. There was no person inside, just empty, but the arms kept grabbing. The body kept moving. I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that fear was playing tricks, but I thought about Whiskers in the tunnel, that tilted head, the wrong movement. "Okay," I said. "Okay, we're still leaving. Stay close to me." We moved back to the hallway. Pete's radio crackled. Multiple contacts in Adventureland. Infected count is now 17 confirmed. They're coordinating. Repeat, they're showing coordinated behavior. All mascot costumes are compromised. If you see a character costume, avoid. Static. Dad, the main exits are locked, Lily said. After the evacuation, they sealed everything. I heard them on the announcements. Emergency containment protocols. I tried the staff exit behind the cafe. The doors won't open. She was right. Code Yellow protocols called for full perimeter lockdown once infectious outbreak was confirmed. The park was designed to contain crowds in emergency. That meant very few exit points, all controllable from central security, and all currently locked. There's an emergency maintenance exit in Fantasyland, I said, behind the Fairy Tale Theater. It opens to the service road. They can't lock that, it's a fire code exit. We get there, we're out. The Fairy Tale Theater was on the opposite end of the park. We'd have to cross the main plaza and navigate through Fantasyland, in the dark, with infected mascots hunting through the grounds. Can we go through the tunnels? Lily asked. No, the tunnel exits are all backstage areas, more closed spaces. We need to move fast and open, where we can see what's coming. Stay in the midways. Dad, this is insane. Yeah, I agreed, but it's the only way. We left the castle through the backstage exit. It opened onto a narrow alley between buildings. Trash bins, loading docks, the backside of the magic. I could hear the park music still playing, When You Wish Upon a Star in instrumental loop, tinny and cheerful through the speakers. The cognitive dissonance was surreal. The plaza was empty. The massive Fantasyland logo fountain was still running, water illuminated by colored lights. The midway stretched before us. Shop fronts decorated with cartoon murals, street lamps shaped like candy canes, every surface painted in primary colors. Without people, it looked like a stage set, artificial, dead. We moved along the storefronts, staying in the shadows. I kept my eyes on every corner, every doorway. Lily stayed pressed against my back, her breathing rapid. We were halfway across the plaza when I saw them. 3 mascots standing near the fountain. Whiskers the Wonder Cat, Captain Courage, and Penelope the Pixie, a 4-foot-tall fairy character with glittering wings and a star-tipped wand. They weren't moving, just standing there in the colored fountain lights, facing away from us, waiting. I pulled Lily behind a popcorn cart. We crouched there, barely breathing. After a moment, Captain Courage's head turned. Not his body, just his head rotating further than any neck should allow. The plastic superhero face with its painted smile scanned the plaza. Then all 3 of them turned, synchronized again. They were looking directly at our hiding spot. "Run," I whispered. We broke for the Fantasyland entrance, an archway shaped like a fairy tale castle. Behind us, I heard the slap of mascot feet on pavement. They were fast, too fast. The archway opened onto Fantasyland's main thoroughfare. Carnival rides on both sides, the carousel, the flying elephants, the spinning teacups. All still, all lit up, music still playing from the speakers. We ran past the carousel. The painted horses seemed to watch us pass. I risked a look back. The 3 mascots were following, but not running anymore. They were walking, steady, relentless, like they knew we had nowhere to go. "The theater's ahead," I gasped. 200 yards. We passed the Mad Tea Party ride, the spinning teacups. In the darkness between teacups, something moved. Another costume. A character I didn't recognize at first, then realized it was Barnaby the bear from the Nature Adventure section. 7 feet of brown fur and dead plastic eyes. He stepped onto the path ahead of us. Behind us, the 3 mascots were closing distance. "This way," I grabbed Lily's hand and pulled her toward the enchanted forest section. Not the direction we needed to go, but we had to break the trap. We ducked into the forest area. Fake trees with plastic leaves, winding paths, ambient cricket sounds from hidden speakers. I heard Lily scream and turned. Captain Courage had appeared from a side path. His massive gloved hand grabbed for her. I swung my flashlight like a club, connected with the costume's head. It didn't flinch, didn't react, just kept reaching. I shoved Lily behind me and used the bolt cutters as a weapon, jamming them into the costume's midsection. There was resistance, fabric, padding, but no body underneath. Lily was right. There was nothing inside. The costume was empty but moving. The arms grabbed me. The grip was strong, impossibly strong. I could feel the rigid structure of the costume hands crushing my shoulders. The Captain Courage head tilted down to look at me. Behind the mesh eye openings, there was darkness, and something else, a flicker of movement, like static, like the air itself was infected. Lily grabbed a garbage bin, the heavy metal park kind, and slammed it into Captain Courage's back. The costume stumbled, grip loosening. I tore free and we ran deeper into the enchanted forest. We were off the main paths now, moving through the decorative shrubbery and prop boulders. I could hear them behind us, multiple sets of footsteps. They were hurting us, I realized, coordinating, cutting off exits. Ahead was the Fairy Tale Theater's back entrance. A service door marked authorized personnel only. I still had my key card. 30 feet away. 20. Whiskers the Wonder Cat stepped out from behind a prop mushroom, directly between us and the door. I stopped. Lily pressed against me. We were surrounded. Behind us, the other mascots were approaching. To our left and right, more costumes emerging from the darkness. I counted 8, 10. They formed a circle around us. Dad! Lily's voice was tiny. I tightened my grip on the bolt cutters. Stay behind me. The mascots stood there, not attacking, just watching, their oversized heads tilted at various angles, waiting. Then Whiskers raised one cartoonish paw and pointed. At Lily.
Timestamp 12:31 nachts.
We're barricaded in the Fairy Tale Theater's projection booth. It's not safe, but it's what we have. We broke the circle. I don't remember making a conscious decision, just animal panic when Whiskers pointed at Lily. I charged the costume, using the bolt cutters like a spear, driving them into the center mass. The blue fur tore. Behind the fabric was nothing, empty space, but the impact pushed the costume backward enough for me to shoulder past. Lily, run. She did, straight for the service door. I was right behind her, mascots closing in from all sides. Princess Aurora's gown brushed my arm. Penelope the pixie's wand swung at my head. I ducked. Barnaby the bear's growl came from the speakers, a recorded sound effect playing from somewhere inside the empty costume. Lily reached the door. My key card was in her hand. I must have given it to her. She swiped it. The lock light turned green. She yanked the door open and we fell through into darkness. I slammed it shut behind us, heard the heavy magnetic lock engage. Immediately, something started pounding on the door. Multiple somethings. The metal door shuddered in its frame. Move, I said. We were in the theater's backstage area. I knew this space. I'd done maintenance work here last summer when the air conditioning failed during a heat wave. The projection booth was upstairs, accessed by a ladder. Solid door, reinforced walls for soundproofing. We could hold out there until what? Until someone realized we were missing? Until hazmat teams broke quarantine and came looking? I didn't have answers. I just needed Lily safe for the next 5 minutes. Then the 5 minutes after that. We climbed. The projection booth was small, maybe 10 by 12 feet. Old digital projector in the center, cooling vents along the ceiling, a single window looking out over the theater's audience seating area. I locked the door and wedged a chair under the handle. Lily collapsed against the wall, hyperventilating. I knelt beside her, put my hands on her shoulders. Look at me. Look at me. Breathe with me. In through your nose, out through your mouth. We did breathing exercises, the same ones I taught her during her panic attacks after the divorce. After a minute, her breathing steadied. Her eyes focused on mine. We're okay, I said. We're safe here. For how long? I had no answer to that. I checked Pete's radio. Still static, but occasionally I caught fragments of transmission. Containment failure in Sector 7. Recommend immediate sterilization. Infected count estimated at 40 plus. 40 infected mascots. In a park designed to hold 50,000 guests and only 800 cast members on a busy night. How many people had been trapped inside when the lockdown happened? How many were hiding like us? How many were already gone? Dad, what are they? Lily asked. If there's nobody inside the costumes, what's moving them? I looked at the projection booth window. From here, I could see across the darkened theater, through the exit doors windows into the Fantasyland midway beyond. 3 mascots stood in the midway, perfectly still, facing the theater, watching. I don't know, I admitted. Some kind of infection that animates fabric? That doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. She was right, but I'm a maintenance supervisor. I fix things by understanding how they work. So I tried to think logically about illogical horror. The first infected cast members were performers, people wearing costumes. The infection spread to others, but only those in costume showed the extreme aggression and coordination. When the infection progressed far enough, the host became irrelevant. The costume itself became the vector, animated by whatever the pathogen was. It's like Lily was thinking out loud, her voice steadier now, like the infection is digital or electromagnetic. It's programming the costumes, using them as bodies. That's not possible. Dad, we just got chased by an empty Captain Courage costume. What part of possible matters anymore? Fair point. I thought about the security footage, the synchronized head turns, the coordinated herding, the way they'd surrounded us with tactical precision. Whatever controlled the costumes had intelligence, purpose. My radio crackled. This is Dr. Elena Reese, Fantasyland medical staff. If anyone can hear this transmission, listen carefully. The infection is airborne and symptomatic within 15 minutes of exposure. Initial symptoms include fever, disorientation, and compulsive behavior toward costumed materials. If you are in the park, avoid all costume materials. Do not touch them, do not wear them. The pathogen appears to have electromagnetic properties. It's attracted to synthetic fabrics and concentrated in the park's character costumes. Multiple infected have been observed exhibiting mobility after cessation of human neurological function. I repeat, the costumes themselves are mobile. Consider all character costumes hostile. The transmission cut to static. Then, Dr. Reese, this is Orange County Health Command. We're implementing full quarantine protocols. The park will remain sealed for minimum 72 hours while we assess contamination levels. Do not approach the perimeter fence. Lethal force is authorized for containment. Repeat, do not. I turned the radio off. Lily was staring at me. 72 hours? We'll find a way out before then, I said, but the words felt hollow. I moved to the projection booth window. The 3 mascots in the midway hadn't moved, just standing vigil. I scanned the visible park. In the distance, near the Adventureland section, I could see more costumes. They were gathering, dozens of them, congregating near the main plaza fountain like some nightmare parade. They're grouping up, I said. Why would they group up? Maybe they're waiting for something, Lily said. Or organizing. You said they showed coordinated behavior. I watched the distant gathering. Princess Aurora, Captain Courage, Whiskers, Barnaby, Penelope, and others I couldn't identify from this distance, all standing in silent formation around the fountain. Then they started moving, not toward us, toward the castle, toward the center of the park, the whole group walking in perfect synchronization. "What are they doing?" Lily whispered. I didn't answer because I didn't know, but watching 40 infected mascots move with single-minded purpose toward the park's central structure filled me with a dread deeper than simple fear. It looked like a pilgrimage, a congregation. My radio crackled again. A new voice. "This is Gary Tompkins, Park Operations. To any surviving cast members, I'm broadcasting from the security office. We've identified a safe zone in the underground service tunnels, Sector 9 beneath the main plaza. The tunnels have steel doors and emergency supplies. If you can reach tunnel access, proceed to Sector 9. We're gathering survivors. Do not attempt to breach the perimeter fence. Armed containment is in effect. I repeat, Sector 9 is secure. Make your way there if possible." Sector 9. I knew exactly where that was. It was also directly beneath the plaza fountain, exactly where the mascots were heading. "We can't go there," Lily said. She'd come to the same conclusion. It's a trap, or they'll trap everyone who goes there. But there might be other survivors, and supplies. "Dad, 40 of those things are walking toward that exact spot right now." She was right again. My daughter has good instincts, better than mine tonight. "Okay," I said. "We don't go to Sector 9. We go for the maintenance exit, the one behind this theater. It's still our best shot." The mascots outside are moving toward the plaza. Once they're clear, we make a run for it. The exit is 100 yards from here. I checked the window again. The 3 mascots that had been watching the theater were leaving, joining the pilgrimage to the plaza. Within 2 minutes, the midway was clear. "Now," I said. "We go now." Timestamp: 1:17 a.m. We're at the maintenance exit. It won't open, and we're not alone. The run from the theater to the maintenance exit should have taken 90 seconds. We made it in 45. Pure adrenaline. The midway was clear. The mascots all gathered at the distant plaza. We sprinted past the silent rides, past the empty storefronts, past the Cho-O cart with its lights still on and pretzel smell still drifting from the warmer. The maintenance exit was disguised as part of the fairy tale village facade. A door painted to look like a cottage entrance. My master key card worked. The door opened onto a concrete corridor, harsh white LED lighting, and blessed normalcy. This was the real world, the utilitarian infrastructure behind the fantasy. The exit was at the corridor's end. A heavy steel door marked emergency exit. Push bar to open. Alarm will sound. I pushed the bar. Nothing happened. I pushed again. The bar didn't move. The door didn't budge. "No," I said. No. This is a fire exit. You can't lock a fire exit." But someone had. The door was sealed. I could see the magnetic lock indicator glowing red above the frame. Emergency protocol override. "Can you open it?" Lily asked. "Not without security override codes." I kicked the door. It might as well have been a wall. Damn it! I turned to reassess. We'd find another way. There had to be another way. We'd go back through the tunnels, find a different exit, break a window if we had to. Lily grabbed my arm. "Dad." She was looking back down the corridor. Behind us, where we'd come from. A mascot stood in the corridor entrance. Whiskers the Wonder Cat. The powder blue costume was torn now. My bolt cutters had opened a gash in the chest area. Through the tear, I could see darkness. Empty fabric. Whiskers took a step forward. The mascot head tilted. Then the costume raised one cartoonish paw and beckoned to us. Come here. Run, I said. There was nowhere to run. The corridor was a dead end. Just the locked exit behind us and Whiskers blocking the only way out. But I grabbed Lily's hand and we backed away, searching for options. A side door. Avant. Anything. Whiskers walked toward us. Slow. Deliberate. The footsteps squeaked on the concrete. Then more mascots appeared behind Whiskers. Captain Courage, Princess Aurora, Penelope, Barnaby. They filled the corridor, a wall of synthetic fur and permanent smiles advancing on us. We were trapped. I positioned myself between Lily and them, bolt cutters raised like a weapon. Not that it would matter, but I'd hurt them, slow them, give Lily every second I could. Dad, stay behind me. The mascots stopped advancing. They stood there, maybe 20 feet away, forming a line across the corridor, waiting. Then they parted, made an opening in their ranks. Through the opening came another costume, but this one was different. It was wearing one of the emergency hazmat suits from the park medical office. The suit was torn, hanging loose, but the helmet was intact. Through the faceplate I saw nothing, no person, just empty space inside the helmet. But the hazmat suit moved, walked, stood upright. It was carrying something, a tablet computer, the kind we used for maintenance work orders. The hazmat figure held it up so we could see the screen. Text appeared. Contamination requires propagation. Costume material amplifies signal. You will facilitate expansion. I stared at the words. Lily was reading over my shoulder. It's communicating, she whispered. The text changed. Offspring unit optimal for integration. Younger neurology more receptive. Provide offspring unit. They wanted Lily. Of course they wanted Lily. Younger brain more adaptable to whatever the hell this infection was. I felt rage. Pure, clarifying rage. Burn through the fear. No, I said. My voice was steady. No, you don't touch her. More text. Resistance is counterproductive. Integration is inevitable. Cooperation reduces distress. Go to hell, I said. The hazmat figure tilted its empty helmet, considering. Then it typed. Alternative. Adult integration first. Demonstration for offspring unit. Compliance will follow. Dad, what are they? Lily listened to me. I kept my eyes on the mascots, but spoke quickly. Behind you, that door. When I give the signal, you kick it as hard as you can. Right at the lock mechanism. You're young, flexible, you can generate more force than you think. Break it. Get out. Run. I'm not leaving you. Yes, you are. When I say. The mascots were moving again. Slowly, the hazmat figure set down the tablet and raised its empty hands toward me. I gripped the bolt cutters, calculated distance, thought about everything I knew about this park, this infrastructure, these systems, and I thought about the one thing I hadn't tried yet. Lily, when the lights go out, that's the signal. What? I turned and swung the bolt cutters at the corridor wall. The electrical conduit was right there. I'd installed it myself 3 years ago. The cutters sheared through plastic shielding and bit into the main power line. Sparks exploded. The lights went out. Emergency backup lights kicked in. But they were dim, scattered, designed for evacuation, not visibility. The corridor plunged into flickering shadow. Now, I shouted. I heard Lily kick the door. Once, twice. The third time, something cracked. Then the alarm, the beautiful, ear-splitting alarm, started screaming. Go! I swung the bolt cutters blindly at where the mascots had been, connected with something soft.
Fabrice-Tore.
I swung again. Hands grabbed me, multiple hands. The mascot's grip was impossibly strong. I felt myself being pulled toward them, into their mass. My flashlight fell, rolled away, its beam cutting wild shadows. But I heard the door slam open, heard Lily's footsteps running, getting away. Good. The mascots pulled me into their circle. I couldn't see in the darkness and flickering emergency lights. Just shapes, movement, the wrong texture of synthetic fur against my face. I felt something else too, a tingling, like static electricity, growing stronger, in my head, behind my eyes. The infection. My last clear thought was of Lily running into the night, escaping this place. That was enough. Then the static filled my mind.
Timestamp 2:43 nachts.
This is Trevor Haskins. I don't know if I'm still Trevor Haskins. I woke up, if you can call it waking up, on the floor of the corridor. The mascots were gone. The emergency lights were still flickering. My head felt like someone had rewired it while I was unconscious. I could think, but my thoughts had a strange quality. Clearer, faster, wrong. I stood up. My body felt normal. No fever, no visible symptoms. But something had changed. I could feel it in my perception, in the way I processed information. It was like someone had installed new software in my brain and I was running both the old operating system and the new one simultaneously. The static was still there, quiet now but present, a carrier signal in the back of my mind. And through it I could sense them, the costumes, all of them throughout the park. Not thoughts exactly, more like awareness of position, status, purpose. A network. I was part of it now. But I was also still me, still Trevor, still Lily's father. The infection hadn't consumed me the way it had consumed the cast members who'd been integrated first. Maybe because I'd been exposed for only a few minutes before I fought free. Maybe because I was resistant somehow. Or maybe I was fooling myself and the consumption was just slower. I found my flashlight, the bolt cutters, my radio still functioning. I picked them up with hands that felt like mine but might not be anymore. The maintenance exit door was broken open. Lily had escaped. Good. She'd gotten out. She was safe beyond the perimeter fence where the health department had set up quarantine stations. They'd help her, keep her safe. Except, through the static network in my head, I could sense something else. Intent, purpose. The infection wasn't contained to the park. It was preparing for expansion. The gathering at the plaza that hadn't been random congregation. The costumes were building something. Amplifier, using the metal infrastructure of the fountain and the electrical systems beneath the plaza. When it activated, the signal would pulse outward, beyond the fence, into the city. Orlando has 14 other theme parks. Hundreds of thousands of costumes, millions of people. And Lily was on the wrong side of the fence when the pulse went out. I had maybe 30 minutes before the amplifier completed. I could sense the progress through the network. Mascots working in the tunnels beneath the plaza, manipulating power systems, building something that shouldn't be possible but was happening anyway. I started running, not away from the park, deeper into it. The midways were more active now. I passed mascots moving with purpose, carrying equipment, moving information. They sensed me through the network, part of the collective. They didn't stop me. I was infected. I was one of them. Except I wasn't. Not completely. The old Trevor was still fighting, still thinking about Lily, still planning. I reached the security office. The door was open. Inside, I found Gary Tompkins and 2 other staff members, both in mascot costumes now, Captain Courage and Princess Aurora. But something was off about their movements. They were jerky, uncoordinated, like puppets with tangled strings. Gary looked up when I entered. His eyes were glassy, distant. "Trevor, you're integrated. Good. We need everyone for the expansion." "What are you doing?" I asked. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Flat. "Coordinating the pulse. Once it transmits, every synthetic costume material within 5 miles will become active. The infection spreads through electromagnetic resonance. The costumes are perfect hosts, durable, mobile, unthreatening. People trust them. Children love them." He smiled. It wasn't his smile. "We'll expand exponentially." I looked at the security monitors. Screens showed the plaza, the tunnels, the perimeter fence. On one screen, I saw Lily. She'd made it to the fence, was being processed through a decontamination station. Health workers in full hazmat suits were scanning her, checking for infection signs. She was clean, uninfected. They'd let her through to the safe zone soon. Directly into the pulse radius when it activated. "How do I stop it?" I asked. Gary's head tilted, that wrong mascot gesture. "You can't. You're part of the network now. You don't want to stop it. You want to facilitate expansion." He was right and wrong. Part of me, the infected part, did want to help, felt compelled to help. But the Trevor part, the father part, was screaming inside my rewired brain. Fight it. Stop them. Save Lily. I had one advantage. I was infected but still partially autonomous. The full costume entities were powerful but limited by their form. Gary and the others were deeply integrated. The infection controlled them completely. But me, I was glitching between human and infected. A system error. I could exploit that. "I need to check the amplifier," I said. "Ensure optimal configuration." Gary nodded. "Tunnel access through the security office is open. Sector 9. The same place he'd broadcasted as a safe zone. I understood now it had been bait, drawing survivors to the amplifier construction site. More hosts, more integration. I took the tunnel access ladder down. The steel door to Sector 9 was open. Beyond it, the tunnel expanded into a large junction chamber, electrical substations, water main access, HVAC distribution. And in the center, the mascots had built something. They'd torn open the main power distribution panels, stripped wiring and wrapped it around the metal support columns in specific patterns, geometric configurations that hurt to look at. The costume materials were integrated into the structure, synthetic fur and fabric woven through the wiring. The whole assembly was connected to the park's main power grid. A dozen mascots stood around it, motionless, waiting. I could feel the amplifier through the network. It was charging, building toward critical pulse. 8 minutes until activation. I knew how to stop it. I'd maintained these electrical systems for 9 years. I knew exactly which breakers to shut off, which failsafes to trigger, how to crash the entire grid and starve the amplifier of power. But I also knew, through the infection, through the network, that stopping it would kill every infected host in the park. The mascot entities were sustained by the electromagnetic signal. Cut the power, cut the signal, and they'd collapse. Empty costumes again. Including me. I'd be killing myself. The Trevor part of my brain didn't hesitate. The infected part screamed in protest, tried to stop my hand from reaching for the breaker panel. I felt the network surge, every mascot entity in the park suddenly aware of my intent, converging on my position. Too late. I grabbed the emergency shutdown lever, the big red handle that maintenance crews use for electrical fires. Pulled it. The power died. Every light in the park went dark. The hum of electrical systems cut out. Silence. Through the network, I felt them all stop. 47 infected hosts. All the mascot costumes. All the integrated cast members. The signal was gone. They collapsed where they stood. Collapsed too. But before I did, I grabbed my radio, keyed the transmit button, found Gary's frequency. "This is Trevor Haskins," I said. My voice was fading. "The amplifier is destroyed. The infection is contained. Don't let anyone touch the costumes. Burn them. Burn everything." And I was losing consciousness, losing myself. "Someone tell Lily her dad loves her. Tell her I'm sorry I won't make IHOP." The radio fell from my hand. The static in my head was dying, taking the infection with it, taking me with it. I thought about Lily, safe beyond the fence, uninfected, alive. That was enough. The darkness came, not the infected darkness, the real kind, the final kind. I let it take me. Orange County Health Department. Incident report. Classified. Incident. Fantasyland outbreak event. Date: October 14th to 15th, 2024. Containment status: successful. Summary: electromagnetic pathogenic entity, origin unknown, manifested in Fantasyland Orlando theme park at approximately 9 p.m., October 14th. Initial infection vector was contact with synthetic costume materials. Pathogen demonstrated capacity to animate and control synthetic fabrics independent of biological hosts. Casualties: 23 park cast members, deceased. 14 park cast members, infected, integration fatal upon power grid shutdown. 8 civilians, deceased. 1 civilian survivor with partial infection, deceased, sacrificial containment action. Containment: infection contained to Fantasyland facility through perimeter lockdown and internal electrical grid shutdown. All costume materials quarantined and incinerated at 1,400 degrees Celsius. Facility remains closed pending decontamination. Notable actions: Trevor Haskins, maintenance supervisor, successfully destroyed pathogen amplifier device at cost of own life, preventing expansion beyond park perimeter. Civilian survival count would have been 0 without his actions. Recommend posthumous commendation. Survivor: Lily Haskins, 14, daughter of Trevor Haskins. Clean infection screening. Released to family custody. Extensive psychological support recommended. Cover story: gas leak and structural failure. Media cooperation secured. Employee NDAs enforced. Status: case closed. Facility demolition scheduled for January 2025. Personal journal: Lily Haskins, October 30th, 2024. They told me Dad died saving everyone. They told me he was a hero. They're right, but they don't know the whole story. I do. I made it through the fence. The health workers cleared me. I was in the safe zone in one of those emergency tents when the park went dark. Every light cut out at once. They told me later it was Dad. He shut down the grid, stopped whatever was happening. I asked to see him. They said no. Said he was too infected. Said his body had to be burned with the costumes to prevent any chance of the pathogen surviving. I didn't get to say goodbye. They gave me his effects, his flashlight, his master keycard, his radio, and this recording device, the one he'd been using to document everything. I listened to all of it. His voice describing the costumes, the infection, the horror. His voice getting more strained, more desperate as he searched for me. His final transmission saying he loved me. I'm 14 years old and I watched my father die to save me, to save everyone. The therapy people say I'll have nightmares for years. PTSD, survivor's guilt. All the clinical terms for your childhood ended in a theme park full of killer mascots. But here's what they don't know. Dad didn't die stopping the infection. I listened to his final documentation entry. The timestamp says 2:43 a.m. He survived the initial integration. He was partially infected but still himself. Still thinking. Still fighting. The power shutdown killed the infection. But it also killed every host, including Dad. He chose that, killed himself to stop it. That's not in any official report. The health department wrote exposure to pathogen as cause of death. Clean, simple, heroic but not suicidal. But I know. And I know something else. Something I haven't told the therapy people or the health department investigators or anyone. When I kicked open that door and ran into the night, I looked back, just once. I saw them pulling Dad into the circle of mascots, saw the empty costumes surrounding him, and I saw his face through the chaos. He looked right at me. Even in the darkness and the horror, I saw his expression. He wasn't scared. He was calculating, planning. He let them take him, let them infect him, because he knew once he was part of their network, he could destroy them from inside. My dad was an engineer, problem solver. He looked at an impossible situation and found the solution. The solution was himself. They're demolishing Fantasyland in January, tearing down the castle, the rides, everything. The official story is structural damage from the gas leak. Good, burn it all. But I want people to know what really happened, not the cover story, the truth. My dad, Trevor Haskins, maintenance supervisor, divorced, terrible at making IHOP on time, best father in the world, saved thousands of lives by sacrificing his own. Not because he was trained for it, not because it was his job, because I was on the wrong side of that fence, and he wouldn't let me be infected, wouldn't let anyone else suffer what he'd seen. So yeah, he was a hero, but he was my dad first. I'm keeping his recordings, his flashlight, his key card to a park that doesn't exist anymore. And every October 14th, I'm going to remember not the nightmare costumes or the horror. I'm going to remember my dad running through a dark theme park, bolt cutters in hand, coming to save me. That's the story that matters. That's the one I'll carry. End documentation.